Hello, good people of YouTube. Sealord here, and today we're talking about a ship that perfectly fits in Monday's top 5 video theme, and those were 5 ships that were forgotten about pretty much right after release or forgotten overnight, however I worded it. And I truly forgot about this ship because if I didn't, she definitely would have been probably the number 2 or maybe even the number 1 slot. And that is, well, the little ship you see on screen, the Tier 5 Premium Austro-Hungarian battleship, the Viribus Unitis. Now, to be clear, I was rooting for this ship. I wanted this ship to come out and be a banger. I was all hyped up for her. And, well, we got an over-tiered Tier 4 battleship at Tier 5, unfortunately. And, things have not gone well for her in today's World of Warships, which is what we're going to be looking at in this video. If you find this video informational and entertaining, you're just downright enjoy it, please make sure to drop a like and leave a comment and all that jazz. Helps on the YouTube side of things. But yeah, today, let's take a look at the Viribus Unitis and see how she's doing in today's ships. Again, it's not that great. So, Sealord, what makes this ship so bad? I'm glad you asked. But in fact, let's start out with what makes this ship good. Well, the only really redeeming factor that this ship has, and that is her main guns. She has 12 305mm guns, which are smaller by Tier 5 standards, but not exactly, unheard of, right? And these guns are incredibly accurate, as I'm sure you're seeing in the background footage. That's the redeeming factor. These guns are quite excellent. And the best case scenario for a Viribus Unitis is she's either behind an island where she can, lob her shells over the island and hit targets on the other side, or she's just being ignored by the enemy team. In those situations, this ship is fantastic because these are, I'm pretty sure, the most accurate battleship guns at Tier 5. I'm pretty confident in saying that because most battleship guns at Tier 5 have a problem hitting the water 3 meters in front of the ship, let alone a target at 15, 16 kilometers, right? So they're great, her AP is great, the dispersion is great, the reload time is perfectly workable for having 12 guns. They're fantastic. Everything else about the ship is pretty miserable. Even some other aspects about the guns, which I guess we'll start at the top of the ship and work our way down. So, the guns, if you can't tell, the turret angle on these guns are so bad, it makes the Japanese cruisers' torpedo tubes embarrassed, right? Like, you have to show broadside if you want to use all 12 of your guns. Which is more painful when you take a look at the ship, because the number 4 turret, there's another couple of degrees you can get out of that turret, right? Now, the number 3 turret, at first you look at it, you're like, oh my god, there's like another, 10 degrees you can almost get out of it. There's a support cable for one of the masts, so I guess, you can't go shoving your gun barrel through that. But like wargaming, if you really wanted to, you could just delete that support cable and, little number 3 gun scoot up a little bit more. But number 4 gun, there's really no excuse for that. There's, again, another, probably at least 5 degrees you can get out of the number 4 gun there. And that's annoying. Now, bad turret angles aren't really an uncommon theme when we're talking about, Germanic ships, if you will. But what's compounded by that is the miserable side armor that this ship has. You've got about 220, I think it's 223 millimeters of armor at the waterline. Above it, it's 280. And the Citadel isn't exactly buried. A little bit of it does stand out above the water, so couple that with the not so great side armor and you can get citadeled very easily, again thanks to the terrible gun angles. Because of course when you buy this thing and you see how great the guns perform, you want to use all 12 guns on the target because that's where she gets her damage in. They are 305mm guns. Again, they're not the largest guns ever. So you want to get 12 of them in the fight. You bought the ship's got 12 guns. You want to use the 12 guns. So you try to use your broadside to your advantage, and you get slapped pretty easily. If you notice in the background, I'm dancing a lot because I'm trying to, scoot the rear around, get number 3, number 4 gun in the fight, then, scoot the rear back to protect to protect my citadel, and, keep number 3 and number 4 out of the fight while they reload. And that's typically, at least what I've been doing in the Viribus Unitis to keep myself from getting blasted. And you might be thinking, well, Sealord, it's a battleship. No, you can get a citadel or 2 and still stay in the fight. Not really with the Viribus Unitis, because speaking of the armor and the hull, her HP is miserable. She has tier 4 battleship HP. In fact, I think it's probably more like tier 3 if we're being honest. 35,000 HP is what she got here. Yeah. 35,000. 35,000. I've just put up my tier 4 battleships in port. I'm just checking. So like the Shizushi has 45. That's a Japanese battleship. They always have a little bit more. The Gangut has 40. Yeah, so we're sitting at about a 5,000 HP deficit in comparison to tier 4 battleships, and we're at tier 5. What the heck? Now there are other battleships in game that do have lower HP in exchange for having good armor. And yes, the front of the Viribus Unitis does have this massive 113 millimeter slab going around it, which is great if the enemy shells hit that slab, right? They're going to bounce. But you still have the nose above it that can be pinned, and you still have the terrible citadel. So, yeah, you eat, 2 citadel shots from a tier 5 battleship, because you're a tier 5 battleship despite having tier 4 tier 3 HP. Most of your health is gone, and now you gotta play super passive, right? Most battleships, again, they can eat a citadel or 2. It's gonna hurt, right? But you can still get stuff done. But in the Viribus Unitis, your game's pretty much done at that point, because now you gotta play super passively, alright? Okay, so that's the HP. Oh, by the way, one of the bigger points of this video, and my ADHD brain almost forgets it. Torpedoes suck in this thing. Like, again, other battleships, you don't like eating torpedoes, but if it comes down to it, you can eat a couple. It's not going to ruin your match. The Viribus Unitis, there are ships that it can see because it's tier 5. All right, it's tier 5, right? Double matchmaking is a thing for tier 5. I'm sorry, double up tiering is a thing for tier 5. You can see tier 7 ships. You can see tier 7 Japanese torpedo boats. Literally eating one of their torpedoes, it's going to cleave away like, a whole third of your HP. You eat 2 of them, you're down to your last, third of HP, if not more than that, right? Depending upon what ship it is. So that sucks. And then what has been introduced since the Viribus Unitis has been released into the game? Submarines with homing torpedoes. Now, submarine homing torpedoes, individually, usually, the individual torpedo damage isn't that high. So you eat a couple of homing torpedoes, again, no big deal. But with the Viribus Unitis HP, it is a big deal because you got 35,000 HP at tier 5. So that's terrible. Not to mention aerial drop torpedoes, because you don't have any AA. You have 4 AA guns. Like, I'm not exaggerating by saying, it only has 4 AA guns. It really has, 60 when most battleships have 100 and something at that tier, right? No, it literally has 4 AA guns. That's it. 4. And again, tier 5 ship. Can't see tier 6 CVs. Thank God it can't see tier 8 CVs. That would be absolutely miserable. And tier 7 CVs have been Thanos snapped by Wargaming. So CVs literally have their way with you, with their torpedoes. That again, you're going to eat those, and well, it hurts more than it does in a normal tier 5 battleship because you've got tier 3, tier 4 battleship HP. So that sucks. So you can see the ship is probably one of the most glass cannons in the game. Now again, don't get me wrong, if you can get in the right situation when either the enemy is outright ignoring you, or you can get something, some island cover in between you and the enemy ships that would be spotting you, yeah, if you can shoot uncontested, can get all 12 of your guns in the fight, yeah, the ship does good. But that doesn't really happen on a consistent basis unless you're just getting some fantastic matchmaking, right? So, in reality, most of the times in this ship, it's just a miserable existence. And I get the argument that, like, it's a small battleship, so it's got to have lower HP. The Julius Caesar isn't much bigger than this thing, and it still gets 45,000 HP, right? Like, the Julius Caesar, the Tier 5 Italian battleship, which is considered to be one of the most broken ships in the game, doesn't have, again, much more tonnage on this thing, but has 45,000 HP. Whereas this thing's at 35,000 and change. So, why? And like with the Odin, which has lower HP because of its armor. You know, at least its armor is tough all the way around. The Viribus Unitis is not. Now, if you were to, like, submerge the Citadel and make it basically nigh-impossible to Citadel, yeah, it'd be a lot more workable. I mean, the torpedoes hit would still suck, and the no AA would still suck. But at least if Wargaming did that, you know, it would be more comfortable to play. Because right now, it is so easy to get clapped by Tier 5 battleships, even Tier 4 battleships, let alone Tier 6 or Tier 7 battleships that you can and will see. Because again, you can get double up tiered in Tier 5, right? So, this has to be like one of the worst ships in the game to get double up tiered in. I really can't think of many more ships I'd rather not be double up tiered in than the Viribus Unitis. So, yeah. Now, it is only a Tier 5. I say only a Tier 5, but I think Tier 5 ships still cost like, what, 25, 30 bucks? So, it's not a colossal downer if you did buy it or if you did pick it up in something, right? Because it's Tier 5, so no big deal. Yeah, those are about, 5,300 dubs, so that's, what, how much is that in American dollars? Yeah, 20 bucks. So it's, that's still the price of some full AAA games on Steam when they go on sale, right? So it's not a huge loss if you did buy into it compared to some other ships, right? And, you know, you have an Austro-Hungarian battleship, which is cool, and a historical ship, which, again, you know, historical ships, they are neat to see them in game and get to interact with them and command them and such. But it's not any good, and it's just such a misery to play. I'd rather play Oklahoma than it, right? That's how bad this ship is. And again, I wanted the ship to be good. I wanted the ship to be great. I wanted the Austro-Hungarian battleship in game to be great, but sadly, it's not. Now, thankfully, Wargaming, at least it looks like they might be going back and giving some older premiums some love. So Wargaming, if you're listening, just submerge the thing, Citadel. Make it to where we can't get clapped by Tier 7 battleships that we have to face in this thing. I think that would be one excellent buff for the ship, at least in that regard. Because again, we're still talking about a ship that has Tier 3 or Tier 4 battleship HP at Tier 5. Let me just check my Tier 3 battleships. I should check this before I started the video. Where's my Dreadnought at? So Dreadnought has 37,000 HP. It has a Tier 3 battleship has 2,000 more HP than this Tier 5 battleship, right? I didn't even talk that much about the speed. The thing's terribly slow. You turn like I'm doing in the background footage. You're going 17 knots, right? Which, you know, it's a mid-tier battleship, Tier 5 battleship, right? But I mean, still just on top of everything else. It's so bad. Oh my god, guys. So that's the Viribus Unitis. Look back at her. A ship that I should have included in Monday's video, but thankfully was mentioned in the comments, so here we are now talking about her. So guys, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below about the Viribus Unitis. If you had the ship, do you agree? Do you disagree with me? Let me know in the comments down below. Hope you guys have a great Wednesday and have a wonderful rest of your week. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.